What's up, YouTube? Winterguard here, bringing you some D2 Resurrected early access beta play. This is my first look at the game. I've seen some stuff online of gameplay, but this is my first time in the game itself. So I figured I'd do a little playthrough and see how it went. So if you like what you see, give it a share, give it a like, give it a subscribe, notification bell, all those good YouTube things that you're supposed to shout out, and we'll go from there. So, initial first thoughts. The game is beautiful. I mean, they've really done a job on updating the graphics, but I guess that's to be expected. The game is 20 plus years old, so any graphics tuning is probably going to look pretty good, but they've really done a nice job. So there's some limitations to what you can do. Act 2, that's not bad for early access. The one thing I did notice, you cannot create Assassin or the Necromancer. They do have all the other characters available for play, but that's to be expected for early access beta. They're not going to give you the full game, of course. So what was available was nice, and I was able to actually build 3 characters this past go around, and do playthroughs on 2 of them all the way through the Duriel kill. The one thing I noticed out of the gate, they did a great job keeping kind of the D2's dark atmosphere. The ambient sounds and lighting that they did, especially in Act 1, were amazing. So they kind of hit it out of the park with that, or at least kept the ambiance of the game from the original play. I think that's kind of one of the draws for Diablo 2. I mean, it was dark in nature, and they did a good job of keeping that aspect of the game in play. Also, with this playthrough, I didn't see any changes. You know, no monkeying around with the loot drops. Everything pretty much still seemed to be the same. I did get, I think, 1 set item and 1 unique through 2 playthroughs with 2 different champs. So the lack of drops is still there early on. You're just not going to see a lot at the beginning, and which is to be expected. And they did keep it to that. They did keep it to that extreme. So we'll see as the next beta comes available. Their next open beta is on August 20th. I don't know if they're going to add any more gameplay like Act 3 or add the Amazon or the Necromancer, but we'll see how that goes. One thing I did notice, they did add some quality of life features that weren't in the original game. The one thing that was big was well, I mean, if you play D2 much, picking up gold's just a pain in the butt. And I think early on, there was a mod that did allow auto gold pickup. I don't remember off the top of my head. It's been a long time. But they do have that enabled in this game, so you just have to run near the gold, and it will pick it up. One thing previous that was a real pain in the butt was muling gear because of the space limitations on your character. So that was always a big deal, and you could lose gear if the servers accidentally hiccuped, or that sort of thing. They did add tabs in your inventory, so you have your own personal inventory for that specific character, and there was extra tabs for shared inventory. So that's kind of a nice addition, which honestly needed to be implemented decades ago. But it is a good addition, so I really like that. So let's talk about the spell effects. They are amazing. I rolled a cold sork, not thinking about it, but the lightning effects in the game itself, whether it's even the effects of lightning on hit, is crazy good. I mean, it's amazing to look at. So I probably will try and roll a lightning sork just to see, just for the visual effects. I mean, they're really good. But just in general, the updates to the graphics for spell effects is amazing, and I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of the other ones. Say, for instance, like a Wind Druid or the lava effects from a Druid. I saw some other players doing that, and they look crazy. So I'm looking forward to adding that to my rotation of characters as well. One thing they did add that was really nice was the ability to just have loot display on the ground. It's not a hold effect. I mean, you could set it that way, or you could toggle it to just display. So that was kind of nice. You didn't have to hold the Control or Alt or whatever hotkey you had set to do that. That was a really nice addition to the game. The one thing I will say about that, though, is if there's a lot of loot on the ground and you're still fighting mobs, targeting gets a little tricky. So, but you can immediately toggle it off. So there is that. But that's a nice little change that I did enjoy. One thing that was kind of nice that I noticed, I mean, it's really minor, but on the main screen, when you toggle between characters that might be in different acts, is the background ambient sounds on that. And it was kind of cool to hear kind of the chilling wind effects in Act 1 with the background fire. It was just a neat little add that I didn't notice before. That it's just kind of a cool change. Okay, let's talk about some of the bad, I wouldn't say bad, some of the things that were not good, but it is early access beta, so we can attribute it to that. There was still some desync on the servers. I noticed that the ping rates were a little high just in general, but that's kind of the purpose of beta, is to optimize servers, that sort of thing. So I'm hoping that will improve as we get closer to the release date. Also, another thing I had happen 3 times. I guess that's not too bad. I probably put in about 5 to 6 hours of play this past weekend. I was completely disconnected from the server 3 times. I mean, and the game just completely crashed and you had to restart. So I attribute that to just being in beta. We'll see again if that improves a little bit with the next open beta that's coming in a week. And hopefully that will improve. Another thing I noticed in game that was pretty random and kind of a minor thing, but was noticeable, is if you were control clicking inventory from, say, your character inventory into stash or back, sometimes you had to do it several times before it would actually move. And there'd just be other times that it would just work one after another. I don't know if that again is a server issue that they're just working on optimizing. It's kind of hard to say. It was noticeable at times where at one point I had to click an item like 6 or 7 times before it would jump to the inventory. But then the next 5 or 6 items would just go straight in. So just a little odd glitch that I noticed. So again, possibly just a server desync issue, which will come with optimizing. I'm assuming that's going to be on the roadmap to release, so we'll see how that goes. One thing I did notice was the auras or spell effects on monsters or characters. Sometimes you could see them even though they weren't in your field of view. Like you could see them through the wall if there was an aura or a monster effect being in play from, say, a champ. You could see it through the wall before you actually could see the monsters. Pretty sure that's not supposed to be the case, so we'll see if that gets fixed before release. One thing I did notice that was probably not a server issue, that is more a bug, was in the Duriel fight. His Holy Freeze didn't actually slow you. It did a damage tick, but it didn't actually slow you, so you can just run around at normal speed and kite him fairly easily, which shouldn't be the case. So I noticed that several people had mentioned this, so this is probably already on their bug fix list. So we'll just keep an eye on that and see if that gets corrected. Last thing, and I mentioned this in the opening, is that they did not have the Necromancer and the Assassin available for play. I'm curious to see if they add that back in for the open beta, but you know, as we all know, dealing with betas, they're not going to give you full gameplay, and it's quite possible you won't be able to play either of those until game release. Final thoughts. I thought the beta was great. I really enjoyed the gameplay. Like I said, I did 2.5 characters. I ran a Paladin and a Sorc all the way through Duriel. I started at Amazon, but just didn't have enough time to put in to run that one all the way through. But the playthrough was a lot of fun, and I really look forward to the release. And as I'm sure most of you will be as well. I appreciate your time. Hopefully we'll put out another one after the next open beta, just to see if they address any of the issues I mentioned. If you like what you see, give it a like, give it a subscribe, join me for the next video, Have a great day. Thanks.